Welcome on board the Master Stereo. Daytime, 24 days, 37 minutes. And here we are at the top of the Philippines, with the island chain jutting out towards the southern tip of Taiwan. The three of us with full moon offline at present. Tommy's online, although he's been AFK for a long time and must have just come back. And ourselves. Last 24 to 36 hours, Tommy has caught us incredibly well. He was in a wind band that had 1 knot more than us, and even though he was on a very similar heading to us, kept on catching us over the night and into this morning. Got down to around about 12 nautical miles at one stage before we made the turn. It's ballooned out a little bit more now, not that much when he was AFK, and we're looking at around about 15 nautical miles there, with another 66 to full moon, who seems to have been dispatched now, thankfully. Eon is the next in line, but he's in the group that is probably about a day behind us. The boats are probably not going to come in here, but these boats here are all fairly much going to be racing to the line together, which is going to be fairly interesting. I've got a QTVLM scenario to show you in a moment. The big news is that we have Pyro back. Which is a wonderful thing. Two guys have luckily contributed to Tonic. He says it's going to cost him about €100 to keep the service going. It would be nice if we contributed a little bit to that. You can find it on his thread here. And where is it? Yeah, he's got his PayPal account here. A couple of euro, if you feel like it, would go a long way to helping his problems and enabling us to, keep track of our boats over long distances like the VOR. Anyway, let's have a little look at Windy now. Just focusing on the three of us. We came up and then had to do a little double hitchback and then come through. As you can see, there's a blue blob waiting for us, and as we go into the afternoon and evening here, we're going to find that this is a little barrier towards Hong Kong off in the distance, not too far away. 2 more days, 2.5 more days to get there. Eon, who I was just speaking about before, was very close to Tommy at one stage. But when the rest of us went northwest, he decided to continue to go west, and he paid the penalty with the blue blob basically latching onto his back and not letting go. These guys up the top here, Vitali, John, and Fig Jam, as you might remember, they came all the way around past Honey area, and had quite a lot longer distance to travel. But they've done pretty well. I think that they're a little bit too high at the moment, but because they should be heading for the southern tip of Taiwan, which is where I would be heading if I was them, they might do fairly well here. I doubt they'll beat Vion. And we have Zen here as well, so this is sort of like the race here. It depends on the wind in the next couple of days. Got El Patron down here. He might be able to get a little bit of boost on, but it depends once again when you get to this area here. This is when the game face has to come on and see what happens. We also have still down here Frank Black with over here Schnoodleheiber, and they're in 6 knots. Wow. And Black Shark. So they've had quite a bit of struggle getting up and around, and that's the problem with that route overall. So let's without any further ado, let's have a little look at QTVLM. Just look at our 3 boats for the next couple of hours as they get into the blue blob and then through. So it's going to be pretty close once again with Tommy and I, and the way he's been sailing the last 24 or 48 hours, actually the last couple of days, been consistently catching us, so not much we can do about it. Don't know what his trick is, but doing much better than us at present. So let's do the big reveal, which is to have a look at quite a number of competitors. I've done basically the top 10, as well as Schnoodlehuber and Frank Black, just to have a look at it. We'll go to have a look at the route comparator, add all, and look at the ETA here. And while it seems pretty much the same as what we can see, there are some very, very close times here. Very, very close times, and anything can change. The same with Tommy and ourselves, although it says 2 hours there or 1.5 hours there. That can change at any time. Schnoodlehuber and Frank, yeah, they're quite a few more days to go. So we will now have a look at a quick sort of take on what it is. I'm going to fast forward by let's do 2 hours, and as you can see, as nighttime comes for these guys, there's not a lot of change in the weather here. A lot of them are downwinding, except for El Patron here. He'll be able to catch a little bit during this time. Not enough, obviously. As we continue on, the blue blob disappears for us. There's a nice little wind bit on the southern tip of Taiwan. We won't be able to get as high as that, unfortunately. But then as we move in a little bit closer, the wind picks up again for these guys. So really got to decide where you want to position your boat to make the best advantage of that. And then the issue comes of the blue blob, which looks a little nasty for a lot of them there. El Patron has to sneak around the top tip of the Philippines there, Luzon, and he's going to take a different angle, but it looks like at the moment mid to north is the way to go there. And meanwhile, these guys have still only come a little short distance as they go upwind, and not in very good upwind conditions either. Then the blue blob, which is nasty for these guys, and then finally they all race home, and Frank Black here and Schnoodlehuber finally get onto a little bit of a reach, and it will take them another couple of days to get there. With looks like Schnoodlehuber will get there first. So onto the Mastersteria. You can see at the moment we're about heading 276 or so, moving up through this island chain here. The winds are oscillating quite a bit, unfortunately. TWS between 13s and about 17, I believe. So that's it for today. It's got about 2 more days to go. Unfortunately, I won't probably be around for the end of this race, so it'll probably be Pacific taking us to the line, although I can always try and do something at work if possible. So guys, if I don't speak to you again, I'll speak to you at the end of the race. Good luck to all.